Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to break down this gorgeous look that I think might be just perfect for Eid. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with the lips. I'm going to take the classic Omi by MacGrath and create a general structure first. So I've just laid down this basic color and I'm not at all going to stick with this color. As you can see, the outfit calls for something quite a bit softer, but I am going to use Omi as a base tone. So I want you guys to be able to see how this behaves, because it starts off super creamy, but then it completely mattifies. So by the time I've done the eyes and come down, you'll see how the Pat McGrath Mattetrance lipsticks behave. So unlike other matte lipsticks, you can put it on with a lot of ease and then it slowly dries down. So you'll get a chance to see that. Okay, so for the face, I'm going to go back again to this Meet Match Shmaker, which I had sort of showed you guys. I've now done two looks, more or less, using this. So this is such a versatile palette. I've done a jade green eye using this green and a bit of the pink. I've done a magenta eye. I'm not sure whether you've seen it or not, or whether we've released it, but I have, using this sort of side of the spectrum. Today, I'm going to only dip into these mattes. So I'm going to go for this vanilla. I'm going to use these browns. I'm going to use this gorgeous terracotta. I'm going to use this warmer terracotta. So I just think these colors, all of the mattes, I've been playing with the shimmers so far. So I'm just curious to see how this behaves. Now, unlike in most things, when I work with matte color and I really want it to pop, I will put a thin layer, not of concealer, but of the thinnest foundation I can find, and something that kind of matches my eyelid and brow bone. So I'll put a slightly warmer foundation on my eyelid and a slightly brighter foundation on my brow bone, but really a small amount. I'll just show you how small. So this is True Match in Rose Vanilla. I find these to be the finest foundations on the market. And when I say a little bit, I really mean a little bit. So I'm literally just going to take this much and pat it on my eyelid. Then I'm going to rub for dear life, because I don't want a thick coating at all. So I'm going to use like a big concealer brush, something with a buffy round head like this. And I'm just going to lightly go over this area. Now today I think it's going to be a really clean look. So I don't mind that this is actually a little bit vanilla-y. If I was going to go for quite a warm look, I might put a warmer color, but we've gone vanilla and I think that's perfectly fine. Now that we have this sort of, I would say, a smidge of a priming. So just like you've sort of foundationed the rest of your face, you very lightly foundationed your eyelid, but I would really suggest you try and make it as thin as possible, because who wants crunchy stuff on their eye? I would hope no one. While the foundation is grabby, I want to put that vanilla on first, so there's no fighting other colors. So I'm just taking a flat brush like that, just a flat packing brush. And I'm just going to make sure this is smooth, and let's start putting that vanilla on. And you can see just how amazingly the foundation will grab the matte eyeshadow. But do make sure it's really thin, otherwise this gets really crunchy and unattractive. You want to see smooth lids. So I'm packing this in, but I will, sort of smooth it out in a second. Right now I just want that foundation on my eyelid to take as much of the vanilla as it wants. So I'm kind of going to town. I'm not going near my corners because I want those to be wonderful and brown, so I'm trying not to interfere with that too. So don't worry if it's blobby right now. This is just about sealing that foundation. Here I'm stroking it on because I don't want too thick a coverage up here. You want your skin to look smooth. So it's a very pleasingly clean sort of look right now. Okay, so now that I've sort of packed my lids, it's time to buff it out. So by that I literally mean I'm going to just pat, pat, pat until the powder is nice and even and any excess is got stroked back into the brush. And while you've got your lids done, let's also open up our inner eye. And I love to take my eyeshadow highlights on my face too. So I look singularly strange and featureless right now, but don't worry, shadows are coming. That sounds dark, right? Now I think I'm going to come in with this sort of pinky terracotta, and now I'm going to really lightly trace out my socket. I'm just going to do a tiny dash to see how this behaves. Now I just keep my vanilla brush in hand to make sure that this doesn't climb onto your lid. So just take a tiny bit and move slowly. Instagram and YouTube and influencers have taught everybody that speed is the answer, but there's some moments when it's fine to be slower and do something well and beautifully. I think I just wrote my gravestone. So I'm just doing a soft little layer. You can keep building when you're certain that you like what you're doing. I'm a tentative makeup artist that way. When I'm exploring a look, I like to take my time. Once I've done it a million times, and I'll just go dish dash dush. But initially, when you're sort of working out what you're doing, it could take a little time. Okay, and just remember to tidy up your lid. Make sure you haven't climbed onto that vanilla. I'm going to take a tiny dash of it just to reinforce. Now my body heat on my eye will have made the foundation ready to grab again. So I can give it another little go. Probably my last go. Just taking a little bit because it won't be so grabby. So this is still creamy, so some time to go, eh? Now I'm going to take a little bit of this sort of dirty camel color, a little bit more in the socket line. I'm just going to carve that out a little bit more deeply. So it's got a pretty sort of two-tone effect. I think a mixture of this dirty sort of camel color and that pink just makes this color absolutely delicious. And now with the brush that I used for the pinky one, which was sort of fluffier, I'm just going to make sure that these are married really beautifully together. You can see how pretty that is, right? Always remember to sweep away as you work so that any potential fallout is gone. Okay, so now it's corner time. I'm going to use a small eyeshadow brush and I'm going to go into Matte Snyder. And I really don't want a smoky eye, so I'm going to really take it easy on this. So just a really light dusting out there. Okay, now in the same way that we put that tawniness, that pink in our socket line first, I'm now going to use that pink to be sort of half of my smoky corner. That way you get a connection back with what's happening. Now I'm going to use a dry paintbrush, which is one of my favorite things to blend with. And I'm just going to blend everything into beautiful softness. Isn't that pretty? And now again, I'm going to come back with my matte color just a little bit and see if my lids are hungry for more. They are. Then you can make sure that anything that's fallen on your lid that you didn't want there, you can just clean it up, see? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very small brush and I'm going to get into my under eye. And surely you all know by now which brush I'm going to pick up for my under eye, which is my Morphe M508 little dinky brush that I love. And I'm going to start with that pink color. Just a little bit. Not that I want too much pinkiness around my eye. But the reason I'm putting this in is because I'm going to put the browns in right over it. So no major shape, just bring in the tawniness, and don't forget to sweep away as you work. So you can see when you do pink, it can look like, you've got an eye allergy. But now I'm going to pick up that brown, and that's going to combine with this and make it a really delicious brown. You understand what I'm going for here? See, that becomes quite delicious now. And then with an absolutely empty, just a little roundish brush, just going to soften this whole thing. I tend to like to sort of squeeze my eyes like this. I feel like that allows me to soften things more easily. I don't know why, but there you go. I'm just going to take a little bit of the brown and put it in here. I've dampened my brush just a little. I think that looks really quite yummy. Now, of course, it's all about those big eyelashes. Just make sure your lashes are separate. So given how difficult it is to get waterproof mascara off, I usually do my little lashes here with just ordinary mascara. Now using a soft brush, I'm just going to take some vanilla and brighten my under eye, the same vanilla that's on my lid. And if I want to punch anything up, then I'll do that too. I'm now going to take one of my favorite lipsticks, which is Loyalist by Maybelline, and I'm going to create a light center to my lipstick. You can see now, after I would say half an hour of doing eye makeup, that this is just beginning to be semi-matte by now. So it's a slow burn, the Pat McGrath lipstick. Now this stuff is super matte, so don't take too much. So you can see that's beautiful, but quite peachy, certainly for me. So I'm going to bring some brown into this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same brown that I put on my eye, and I'm just going to mix it into my lips a bit. I think for that, I'm going to take a mixture of this, and let's see how that works out. The pinky brown and the brownie brown. You can see how delicious that became. Now you can see we've created that deep brown pink that I think we all dream of. Oh, I love this kind of color. Now, of course, you can guess I'm going to put some of this in my cheeks too. So that same rosy pink we started with, I'm going to bring into my cheek. So that was Matte Shahwan. I'm going to take a little bit of it on a brush. Then I'm going to put it into a face powder. And when I mix them together, it should be quite a strong and incredible color. You can see how strong that is because it's an eyeshadow. So now you would bury it under face powder and it'll become just beautiful. One of my favorite ways, like a secret way to contour almost. Do your work, bury it. I'm now going to take some of that vanilla on my face brush. Let's make this highlight pop. I love a good matte highlight, and I feel like when it's the summertime, if you have a gleaming matte highlight, by that I mean it's so clean. You see, that's matte, but it's gleaming and clean. Oh, I love this kind of look. So, you know, you can kind of take your eyeshadows and do your entire face. Who's going to stop us? So there you can see we just can use our eyeshadow palettes to just play and create your whole face. My cheeks are done with that same eyeshadow palette. My lips are, my eyes are. I, by the way, ended up dipping into this color for my brows. So I have done my brows, my highlighting, my contouring, my eyeshadow, and my lips all from one palette. So if you want like this super pulled together look, what could be more pulled together than all the colors from the same place? I hope you find this look useful for Eid or just in general. It's a very classic, clean, open look. It's I think something that, you know, we underestimate the power of a good matte highlight and some beautiful sort of contours that are, you know, part of the same color story as our eyes. So it's a good thing to play with. I hope this gave you inspiration to use your eyeshadow palettes as more than just eyeshadow palettes. And I think this Meet Matchmaker is a really, really brilliant eyeshadow palette. You should definitely spend your money on it. It's worthwhile, very high pigment, gorgeous color combinations. And now I've made 3 videos out of this same palette, so that should tell you something. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to leave your questions and comments so that we can make videos in response to them. I hope you've subscribed. Until next time, thank you so much, guys. Bye.